Hey, it is Any Old Gamer back with some more Dragon Champions content for you guys. So guys, I am still playing, still really enjoying the game. I'm actually now reaching what I would consider to be somewhat of mid-game. And so today we're going to be talking about how I've started to progress in Arena. So specifically we're going to be talking about Arena offense today. Before we jump into Arena, I just want to give you guys a quick look at my account so you get an idea of where my progress stands, and then you can kind of gauge that as we talk about the strategies. So for those of you Summoners War players who are not as familiar with Dragon Champions, first of all guys, give it a try. You can see the promo code above me. I'm actually at the end of the video, I'll show you guys how to enter in that promo code. But if you do sign up with that promo code, first of all, you help me out. So if you're watching this video, you're probably a channel supporter, and it definitely helps me out. I am partnered with Dragon Champions, of course, but honestly, I'm just really enjoying the game. And then secondly, of course, you're going to get free stuff in the game, so it gives you a really good opportunity to just try out the game. You know, you get some free gold, you get some, you get a free hero, you actually get this guy right here, Mage Corkrim, and it gives you a nice little leg up. So anyway, promo code above my head, XG gift. Now let's talk a little bit about my heroes and where I stand. So, as I was saying, for those of you who are newer to the game, the heroes in gold right here, this is gear level 11. Now, the highest gear level is 12. I have not gotten anybody to gear level 12 yet. Not Tromgar. I'm close with Zera. So, the last thing I have to do is this one piece of gear, but I do have to beat the challenges in order to do so, and I have to get Zera to 7-star. So even though I'm close, I'm really not that close because I'm still missing a bunch of hero fragments. I'm also, I've got 4 gear pieces towards the gear level 12 on a couple of other heroes. But I have started to make fair progress. I've got, looks like 11 heroes now that are up to gear level 11, which is, gear level 11 is pretty significant. That's when your hero really starts to kind of come into its own and get power and be able to be competitive against other, again, what I would term kind of mid-game players. Endgame players are basically going to have a full hero box with all gear level 12s, or a lot of gear level 12s. So a mid-game player like myself who's starting to progress, I'm kind of like early mid-game at this point is what I would say. This is where you're starting to get enough heroes to gear level 11, and you have some at level 80 and gear levels 9 and 10 where you can start to compete in tournaments. You can start to pass all of the challenges and all the other kind of PvE content. Now, the reason I wanted to start off here is because if you're looking to progress in one specific area of the game, such as we're talking about or going to be talking about today, Arena, it's very important to gear up the heroes that are going to benefit you the most in that area of the game. Now, in my case, the first heroes that I geared up to 11, and it's a big investment. I've been playing this game now for probably over 4 months every single day. I'm not free to play, so I have invested some in the game, and it takes a long time in order to advance your heroes. So the ones I did first, I did the legendary hero Solius, who is my best healer. He's, I think, most people's best healer. And then I did Freezard because he was the first mage I got, and he actually he's pretty strong. They've recently given him skill level 7s, which helped out quite a bit. But after that, I did Tromgar, and then after that, I was kind of aimless. I wound up doing Kyra, and she's good. She's definitely good, but she's not amazing. I did Mar, which I needed for one of the challenges, but again, he's really good, but he's not amazing for a lot of the areas that I was trying to progress in. So I kind of stunted my own growth because I was advancing the wrong heroes at the wrong time. So again, Mar is a really good hero. Very useful in some of the challenges, but for me at the time, trying to progress in tournaments, trying to progress in Arena, he didn't do as much for me. Now, let's go take a look at Arena, and let's look at the 3 defenses that I have access to right now. So there's a couple of things you're going to notice on every one of these defenses. Zera is here pretty much, Zera's here on 2 of the 3 defenses now. Zera's going to be here on almost every defense. And then Garrett, this hero right here is Garrett. You see Garrett, Garrett, and Garrett. So why is Garrett on every defense? Well, it's because of this skill right here, where he inflicts blindness on all enemies for 1 turn. And why is Zera on almost every defense? It's because of his leader skill. It's not just because of that. Zera is actually an incredible hero. He's one of the strongest, most versatile heroes overall because he's got Vampire, he heals himself, he does huge damage, he has ability block. But ultimately, the reason he's everywhere is because of this leader skill. When the battle starts, all enemies receive a tenacity decrease, armor decrease, damage decrease, and buff immunity. The buff immunity is the big one because it means heroes cannot buff. So the enemy team cannot buff if Zera is your lead. Now what that means is that you cannot put up, for example, something to protect you from the blindness that Garrett applies on this skill right here. So what happens is you enter into the fight, Zera stops you from buffing, and then Garrett on the second turn, because this is a 1-turn initial cooldown. The skill itself is a 4-turn cooldown, but it's a 1-turn initial cooldown. So on the second turn, Garrett is going to blind your entire team, which means you're going to wind up going 3 turns before you can use any of your skills, and by that time, you're probably dead. Now, I struggled with this for quite a while. The Zera is not as big of a deal. The big thing with Zera is it means you can't auto. As long as you play your first round manual, you're fine. But the Garrett in particular was really screwing me up for a very long time because I didn't ever take the time to go look at the other hero skills. Now, one thing for you Summoners, War players, I know we have the ability to search for skills and buffs and debuffs in a menu, which makes things so much easier. Unfortunately, we don't have that in Dragon Champions, but the flip side to that is it's a way, way smaller box. Like, this is it. This is all the heroes in the game, so it's not like that overwhelming hundreds of heroes. If you get into the game, it's worth going through and reading the skills of each each hero and seeing what they do. So eventually, that's what I did. And I found this guy, Eric Shieldbreaker, who, by the way, works with Garrett. They work in tandem, right? Well, what's his skill 3 do? It gains a debuff immunity and an armor increase and applies both to 4 allies for 2 turns. So 4 allies means a full team in arena because it's a team of 5, right? So you're basically giving your entire team a debuff immunity. Now, if you were to take your Eric Shieldbreaker in, and here's what I've actually done. I have speed tuned him to go last on my team in arena, right? So we come in here and we're going to go ahead and just attack, we'll attack this rank number 8, the highest rank that I can attack right here. We're going to go ahead, we're going to use Freezard, so he's going to give me really big AoE damage. He also gives me a defense break and attack bar reduction. So the armor decrease comes on the skill 2 and the AoE attack bar reduction comes on the skill 3. The skill 1 is also a slow, so basically he's going to allow your team to turn cycle a little bit, and you know, he sets the enemy up to take more damage with the armor decrease, and then he allows you to turn cycle. He's also got level 7 skills, so he just hits hard in general. And then in addition to the Freezer, we're using Tromgar. He is going to be my primary defender, basically my primary tank. And then we have got our Zera, who we just talked about, for the OP leader skill and heavy damage. Eric Shieldbreaker is going to be giving me my buffs, preventing the enemy from debuffing me, and then he also does really big damage on his skill too. And then we have Soleus here, who is, for one thing, he's my main healer, so he does practically an AoE full heal off of this skill. And then in addition to that, he's going to give me, you know, it's a tenacity increase, armor increase, haste. The armor increase is kind of redundant with Eric, but we get the tenacity increase, the haste, the damage increase, and then the ability to cheat death. So if you're not familiar with the term speed tuning in its simplest form, it just basically means what order do your heroes go in. So I speed tune, or I set the order for my Soleus to go first. So you can see he's 244 speed. I've slowly been increasing the speed of all of my heroes, and so Soleus right now, he's at 244, and then Zera is going to be at 242, so he acts just after Soleus. And what happens here is the first turn, because the enemy has a Zera lead, I can't do anything, I just throw out all my skill 1s, right? And then acting after the Zera is going to be the Freezard and the Tromgar, and then acting last is my Eric Shieldbreaker, and he's going to be sitting here at 193 speed, so he's significantly slower. And what I do, and we'll actually come into the battle so you can see what I do. So basically, we're going to come in here. We're just going to use all skill 1s so that we don't have to worry about the Zera debuffs at the start, right? And we'll just target whoever we think the threat is. In this case, I actually want to get rid of this Eric Shieldbreaker, so we're going to go skill 1. Now, I can use the AoE on my Zera here, or I can save it. In this case, I'll just save it. We'll go skill 1 again. Now, they're going to cut because I speed tuned some of my heroes to go slow. Now, here is the biggest thing, the reason I said you can't auto against Zera. Tromgar's Shield of the People, which is basically his provoke, is it's a 0-turn initial cooldown. You can use it at the start of the fight, and if I was on auto, the AI would use this, but because I have buff immunity, I can't buff myself, so I can't gain the provoke, and so then I no longer have a defender provoking the enemy. So I just have to skill 1 right now. We're going to skill 1 our Freezard. Now, the only hero that I have left that has buff immunity is Eric. So I'm going to go ahead and put debuff immunity on the rest of the team. And now Garrett's going to come out and he's going to blind my team, but really he's only going to blind Eric because everybody else has buff immunity. Now, because I have my Soleus and my Zera on my fastest runes, I can go ahead and attack buff the Zera, and then I can actually just one-shot that Eric right there. You see the Garrett just went out. He tried to blind everybody, but the only person he blinded was Eric. Eric actually survived, and now I get my Tromgar provoke up, and now it's honestly pretty much GG. Like, they're going to all have to attack my Tromgar. Their Eric's debuffs are going to wear off in a minute. I got my Eric healed up. And there's not a lot they can do. We can actually start working on this Zera now, since that's going to be the biggest damage dealer remaining. And now my Eric has his skill 2 up, and he's going to do, you know, I mean, it's a big hit. It's 18k right there. And that was, I think it was 18k on a non-crit. So from here, like I said, I could actually auto out from here. Honestly, if you just did that opening sequence that I just showed you guys, you can just pretty much auto from that point. Maybe do a little bit of targeting if it starts to look dangerous. Like, we'll go ahead and target Nightingale now because she's the biggest remaining damage dealer. But, yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. That's it. Now, will this comp win every single arena fight? No. Because sometimes you're going to be facing a more Doom and you need more AoE. Sometimes you're going to be facing a buff, or, you know, you're going to face different legendary heroes. So this comp won't win every single arena match, but the single most meta, the single most common arena defense right now is going to be that Garrett-Zera combination. Sometimes it's with the Soleus, sometimes with an Eric Shieldbreaker, whatever the case is. But right here, we've got Zera, Garrett, Nightingale, Eric, Freezard. Right here, we've got Garrett, Eric, Titania, Soleus, and Nightingale. So whichever defense you're facing, if it's a meta defense that's based off of the Zera Garrett, these two right here, then you can generally just take in the comp that I just showed you guys. But what's more important, really what's more important, is the thought process, the theorycraft that goes in behind it. But so in Arena, when it comes to theorycraft, if I were to be facing like the Zera Eric more Doom team right here, I would be coming in with a very different comp because, first of all, there's not so many debuffs on the other side. So while Eric Shieldbreaker is awesome because he gives me an armor increase and he hits really hard, he does not AoE. And this more Doom right here, he summons imps. He summons 2 imps on his skill 2, which has a 0 initial cooldown. So you're basically fighting 5 on 7 from the start. And then if you don't kill him within 4 turns, you're fighting 5 on 9. So the key to beating that is lots and lots of AoE damage. Some heal block can be helpful as well because he summons the imps randomly, but some of them are healers. Or you could bring a lot of sustain on your side, like maybe bring a second healer if you have a fully leveled up Renara, maybe something like that. Or even a Mortha, just basically a second healer to go with your Soleus. But the point here is that when you go into a team, you want to think about the skills that your heroes have that can counter the enemy team. So if Garrett is not there, then buff immunity may not be as big of a deal. If Zera is not there, then you might want to go in with a defender who can immediately provoke on turn 1. If Zera is there, then the turn 1 provoke isn't as important as maybe being able to provoke within the first 2 turns. So when it comes to arena offense, you want to just really think about, you know, it's checks and balances. You want to think about the monsters that you're bringing in to counter the enemy. So we're going to go ahead, because there wasn't a lot of action in this video. I'll go ahead and just spend the 25 here. We'll do one refresh. We'll do one more arena battle. This time we're going to go ahead, we're going to change out the Freezard. We're going to use our Garrett, which is another option I have, because the Garrett, remember, AoE blind. Well, in this case, oh, actually, wait, do we have an Eric over here? We do, so we're not going to use our Garrett. Okay, that's a perfect example right there, actually, guys. So you don't want to bring Garrett in when the enemy has an Eric, because Garrett's best thing, and he does a lot of good stuff, but his best thing is that AoE blindness. So if the enemy has debuff immunity, what good is Garrett actually doing you? Now, in this case, what I might want to do is, for example, I could bring in this Kyra. Now, what Kyra has, she has a few good things. She gives invisibility to mages, but I'm not running any mages in this comp. She decreases damage and potency when she's in, or excuse me, she gets a damage increase and a potency increase when she's invisible. And she also pairs with Venomate, and then Venomate does some really good stuff for Kyra as well, but mine's not fully leveled up yet. But here's the big thing. So she deals 240% damage to all enemies, and then she has a chance to daze for 2 turns. And she has a skill 1 ability block. Now, skill 1 ability block is kind of rare. You see it on some skill 2 and 3, but the ability block is huge. So actually, as a better example right here, guys, let's say I was going in against this Mordoom, right? Well, here, instead of using the Freezer, I would want to use the Kyra, but I would want my Kyra to be super fast. Mine is not, because I put my fastest runes on the Soleus and the Zera, so mine isn't a damage build. So she's not the best counter here. But if I had a Kyra that was running my best, speed runes, and she could reliably outspeed that Mordoom, then I can bring the Kyra in and use the skill 1 ability block on the Mordoom so that he can't summon those imps. And that buys me a little bit of time. It buys me 2 turns until I have the opportunity to either kill him or kill some of his allies so there's less damage, or whatever the case is. It gives me 2 turns to gain control. So the skill 1 ability block is huge, and it's a great counter to enemies that have really powerful skill 1s, or really powerful skills with no initial cooldown themselves. So again, it's really all just about the Theorycraft and making sure that the team you bring in will appropriately counter the enemy team. So we're going to come back in here. We're going to use, I think we're just going to use the same, we'll go ahead and use Nightingale this time because we don't need the AoE. So Nightingale is another example. Now she's got a skill 2 ability block, so this is going to be on a 1-turn initial cooldown, but it cycles every 3 turns and it does really big damage. Her skill 1 is, it's just straight damage basically, and then her skill 3 is an AoE attack buff. She also does have a passive where she can remove debuffs from herself and Soleus. And then she can remove a buff from a random enemy, or sometimes 2 buffs. So she's good to counter, like if you use the Nightingale Soleus combination together, they're good to counter enemy defenders because sometimes they can strip the provoke off. But anyway, we're gonna go in. We have the Nightingale Soleus combination. So we're gonna go in and we are going to basically just do pretty much exactly what we did before, in that we're going to target whoever we think is the biggest threat. This time I'm actually, I'm going to go after, I think we'll just go after the, we'll go after the Eric again. They're all kind of equal threats over here, so we'll just skill 1 right here. Now you'll notice my Nightingale is also slow, and the reason for that is, again, because you face a lot of Zeras. So in this case, I have a choice. I could skill 1, or I could do an AoE damage increase. The thing is, if I do the AoE damage increase, because Eric's going to be blind next turn, he's never going to get to benefit from it. My Soleus really isn't a big damage dealer, and Tromgar is not a big damage dealer. So it makes more sense for me to just hold it and skill 1 for right now. We'll go ahead and put up our debuff immunity. Now we can actually go ahead and set up for the snipe. We'll go ahead and snipe out, or almost snipe out this Eric right here. We can put up our provoke, we put up our attack buff, and then we're just going to skill 1 because Eric is blind right now. And then we should be able to kill the, oh, well, we actually killed him on the counter attack. But we could have killed him with our AoE right here as well off the Zera. And once again, from here I can just auto out. So I really, it's like almost a semi-auto, right? I just have to do that first 2 rotations to make sure that everything's set up the way it should be, and then from there the enemy can't really do much to me. I can just auto. If I want, I can target the Garrett for a little extra security, but usually you shouldn't need to, because at this point you're 5-on-4 and you're fully buffed, and they're not, because your Zera blocked them from provoking you. So anyway, guys, that is it for this video on Arena Offense. Now, we are going to do, at the end of this video, I just want to show you guys, because I haven't done this in one of the pro mode videos in a while. I just want to show you guys real quick, once again, that promo code, XGGift, right? You get some free stuff. You do have to enter it before you're level 15 in the game. So make sure that if you're just starting out in the game, you definitely want to get that entered in before you're level 15. You're going to come up to this little cog right up here, the gear cog, the settings cog, dialog, right? You click on the settings, you use promo code, you type in XGGift, and that's it. You press OK. It's going to say, of course, that the code's already used for me. But if you're under level 15, you haven't used the code, you're going to get a bunch of gold, you're going to get a free hero, you're going to get some other really useful stuff that'll help you progress in the game a little bit faster and help you get settled into the game a little bit more. So guys, on that note, as always, I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, if you're still with me to this point, then that means that you probably liked the video, found it entertaining, or even better, both. So please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below, because those things help the channel grow, and more importantly, they show me that the video is useful, and that's the whole reason I do this in the first place.